Hello there, people of the internet. So, as many of you guys know, I am a reloader. As a matter of fact, I reload for all different sorts of firearms. And, well, the one I have out here is this 8mm Mauser rifle. This is the Yugo 2447. You guys have seen this one a lot. I've got Turkish ammunition inside of this one. They're not my hand loads, but I've already fired corrosive ammo through this. So I figure, hey, may as well bring it out and run some rounds through it before I go ahead and I clean it, which I plan on doing tonight. I'm going to settle in with some whiskey, watch Band of Brothers, and clean my Mauser rifle. It's going to be a really great night. But I was experimenting with some 44 caliber hand loads out of my Rossi R92 44 Magnum lever action. And I was using 160 grain projectiles. I've made videos on this particular lever action before, and I could never really figure out why, but my hand-loaded bullets had always tumbled. I was using 160 grains, and I know for a fact that this rifle can stabilize 160 grain projectiles, simply because I have fired factory-loaded 160 grain projectiles out of it, and it has had no problem stabilizing those. For the most part, whenever you're dealing with something like 44 Magnum and 44 Special, it's going to be anywhere from 220, more often than not 240, but sometimes you'll see 260 grain projectiles as well, significantly heavier than what I was using. But there for a little while, I was thinking maybe it is the actual weight of the bullet because it was tumbling. Originally, I thought there was something wrong with the rifle until I saw that I had, accuracy that was phenomenal with factory-loaded ammunition. So I was like, no, it has to be my hand-loaded ammunition. So I did a bunch of experimentation, and I came to some conclusions, and I feel like this, what I've learned through my experience with trying to experiment with this might be helpful to some of you guys out there. So whenever I was loading this lighter weight ammunition, lighter weight than what the rifle would normally call for. I'm not sure how well it's going to stabilize 160 grains out at long distances, but I do know it will stabilize it out to at least 100 yards because I've achieved some pretty impressive accuracy with 160 grain bullets out of that lever action at 100 yards. But with me using these lighter weight projectiles, of course they're going to be traveling faster than something that is, say, a 240 or 260 grain projectile going down range. The peacocks are absolutely panicking for no reason whatsoever. That's just what they do. But you have this lighter weight projectile, so it's going to be traveling faster. And I was loading these rounds a little hotter than I normally would. I wasn't loading them quite to 44 Magnum specifications. I was loading them more or less a hotter, spicier 44 Special round. This right here is a 44 Magnum rated rifle, so we're not going to have any issues with overpressure from what I was doing. I was certainly not doing anything stupid. We got this thing flying around me, and it looks like something that would sting me, so we're going to get that out of here. I wasn't doing anything stupid with my hand loading. I was definitely not going beyond the capabilities of that rifle. But I had noticed that I had issues with my bullets tumbling. And I tried a bunch of different loads and whatnot to see if I can figure out why my bullets were tumbling. I tried all sorts of stuff until finally I found a very delicate balance in between, like, going too low pressure or too high pressure. I heard something moving around over there. It's probably just this tree and the wind blowing. But I found just like the perfect pinpoint of too low pressure, too high pressure, to where now my 160 grain projectiles are actually stabilizing, and I'm achieving some pretty phenomenal accuracy with my hand-loaded ammunition, which is something that I'm just not used to out of this 44 caliber. Normally, whenever I look up online, I can figure out, all these different things and people telling me what to use with what, and it's a very, very easy way, just type in 44 caliber or 44 Magnum hand load data or 44 Special or whatever it is that you're looking to use. But I couldn't find anything on 160 grain projectiles, so I just kind of had to spitball it and guesstimate for myself. And I wasn't going to do anything dangerous or anything like that. I wasn't going to overpressure the rifle or anything, but I wanted some spicier 44 Special rounds. So it took quite a bit of testing, and whenever I tried on the high end of the spectrum, they tumbled. Whenever I tried on the lower end of the spectrum, they still tumbled, and it was just a mess. It was just an absolute mess. So if you're having issues with your hand loading and you're having issues with tumbling, no matter what spectrum it is that you're looking to go to, try going like somewhere in between of the loads it is that you're actually doing, and maybe you'll get lucky. I know I got lucky, and now I have myself actually a very nice, very accurate, very much more economic to shoot now that I can actually use hand loads out of that 44 Magnum rifle. And I will be testing power and, you know, showing off accuracy and making a full-on video about that. I just don't have any large rifle primers right now, so I'm not doing that. By the time this video goes up, I'll probably have some large rifle primers, so I imagine that a video on that particular thing will be coming up before too terribly long. But I want to talk about some of my ideas as to why my particular 160 grain projectiles maybe weren't stabilizing all that well. So the 160 grain projectiles I'm using are cast lead projectiles. They have no outer jacket or anything like that. And I've noticed that if I use jacketed 160 grain projectiles, like with same exact load, same exact amount of powder, same exact, literally the same exact brass casings, same exact primer, same exact everything, the jacketed ones stabilized just fine. However, the lead ones, they tumbled dramatically. And I think that it's just because I was using soft lead ammunition. These are just literally lead cast bullets. And whenever they travel too fast, I'm thinking that perhaps instead of actually engaging the rifling, they are lubricated bullets, and there might be some issues with, I don't know, some issues with something along those lines. But they are lubricated bullets, and maybe whenever they're trying to make their way through the rifling, since they're just soft lead, maybe the bullet's traveling a little faster than it should, because it's a 160 grain bullet. I haven't chronographed it. I'm not sure how fast it is actually traveling, but maybe it's traveling a little faster than it should. So as a result, instead of actually engaging the rifling, the lead is just kind of tearing its way through the rifling and shooting out the barrel without actually achieving any sort of real stabilization. That's why it's tumbling. That might be one reason why my soft lead rounds are having issues, whereas like my actual jacketed projectiles have like zero issue whatsoever. I can load those with whatever loading it is that I want, and they are pretty much on point no matter what. I had another rationale behind that, just them being cast lead, but I can't remember what it was. But I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with the projectile moving too fast as it tries to make its way through that rifling. And it's only the cast lead ones that do it. The 160 grain cast lead ones. I have not tried any heavier hand-loaded projectiles. I've tried heavier factory-loaded, and of course the factory loads are gonna land just fine. Now, I have done cast loads with other rifles as well, including 8mm Mauser. And I have found similar results, not quite to the extremes that that I'm having issues with the cast metal or the cast bullets of the 44 Magnum that I'm using. With the 44 Magnum, they just full-on tumble at like 15 yards, which is exactly what I was out here testing. And then I just found a good Goldilocks area, and I went out to 100 yards, and I stuck 2 rounds almost on top of each other. And I was like, ah, well, I guess we found our preferred load data with these cast rounds. But whenever I used cast bullets from 8mm Mauser, which I've done a couple of times, not really all that often because jacketed bullets are definitely easier to find than cast bullets for these. But I did come across some cast 8mm 323 diameter projectiles for these, and I did run some of those. And I noticed that whenever I was running those, the cast bullets were significantly less accurate. I tested the diameter, and the diameter was good. The consistency of the material inside of the projectiles themselves, that was good. Whenever I undercharged the 8mm Mauser ammunition just slightly to achieve a little less velocity, the accuracy of that ammunition tightened up significantly. However, with these jacketed bullets, like, I've never had issues with jacketed bullets having that kind of issue. So I think it's just the cast bullets. Sun's going down. I got a couple of rounds inside of this thing. I've already fired corrosive ammo through it, so I may as well send some more lead downrange. I got literally no reason not to. But yeah, the accuracy of the cast bullets whenever they were going just too fast, maybe because it's a 160 grain projectile and I just kind of had to play around with it. Maybe there was an issue with overpressure. I know that those those 1892 pattern lever actions, they are based off the 1896 pattern, and they are an incredibly strong action. So although I didn't see any overpressure signs with the actual system itself, that doesn't necessarily mean that we were not reaching overpressure situations in terms of the actual cartridge inside of the projectile. Just because the rifle could handle it doesn't necessarily mean that we were reaching pressures that were equivalent to what the cartridge, what the actual SAMI specs were set to. That might also play a part as to why bullets were tumbling, because we were just getting way too much pressure. Well, not way too much, because I was definitely not doing anything too stupid, but there's a chance that we were just getting too much pressure inside the chamber, and that excess pressure might be why we were getting tumbled rounds. And maybe on the opposite end of the spectrum, whenever I was undercharging it, maybe we just weren't having enough pressure to be able to really engage that bullet properly. And well, like I said, I just kind of found a little Goldilocks area. Let me go ahead and send some of this 8mm Mauser downrange. And there's Kevin screaming. Man, I wish that this Turkish ammo was reloadable, because this brass is not that bad. Turkish ammo does sometimes have some pretty bad brass in it, but I have found that this particular batch of Turkish ammo is actually quite nice. And another round. That poor steel has been through so much. So, hopefully my, let's see, what am I trying to say here? Hopefully my mess-ups are good enough to be able to help you guys out if you have issues with trying to hand load something and your bullets keep tumbling, but your rifling and your bore and whatnot on your rifle are fine. Maybe you're having issues with either under pressure or over pressure, or maybe you should swap from a cast lead bullet to a jacketed bullet. That might solve your problem as well. Like I said, I don't have this problem with jacketed bullets from the same exact loads, only the cast bullets. That poor steel. It is just sinking into the dirt. Speaking of dirt, I just kind of hit the dirt on that one. Let me know what you guys think down below, because I mean, I'm a young guy. I know that I don't have all that much experience, all things considered, compared to some of you guys out there whenever it comes to reloading. Why is it that my cast rounds have issues, whereas my jacket rounds do not? The cast bullets are coated, they are lubricated. But, I mean, well, like I said, I just kind of found a Goldilocks area to where I have them stabilizing properly, not too fast to, like, disengage the rifling, not too slow to cause issues with tumbling. And I think that I have a very, very nice little load system now. And maybe I don't know, I've wasted probably about 100 or so rounds trying to find this proper load system, this proper pressure system. Hopefully my blunderances, my waste of money and time and ammunition and effort will help somebody out there. So if you're having the issues that I had, I don't really have this with full power rifle ammunition. I don't have issues with tumbling with cast lead ammo. I typically have like just issues with accuracy in general with those. But there's been a few times where I've had like pistol caliber ammunition, especially your larger diameter pistol caliber ammunition, like 44 caliber, 45 caliber, 50 caliber, things like that, that have issues with tumbling out at significant distances. So, I mean, not even significant distances, at like the 25 yards that I was at. And it seems to be the cast bullets that were giving me problems. So, that right there is my conclusion. Either pressure or troubles engaging with the rifling. That right there is just kind of what I've assumed based off of what it is that I saw. And I'm sure somebody's going to give me, you know, hey, you're exactly right, or hey, you're wrong, it's this instead. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'm eager to hear what you guys have to say. I am exhausted, and I'm going to go lay down. Oh, God. I did a lot today. A lot. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see y'all on the next video. I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.